In October 2019, Arlington, Texas was chosen to be the home of a new national museum, unlike any other. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a unique home of military history. The 100,000 square foot museum will house exhibits, archives, and artifacts relating to the 3,500 U.S. troops who have been awarded the medal, the nation's highest honor for valor in combat. The museum will have 31,000 square feet of galleries dedicated to U.S. troops who have received the award. The museum CEO, former Navy SEAL and NASA astronaut Chris Cassidy, said the museum will focus on education as much as preservation. The building will have 5 areas dedicated to Medal of Honor winners from the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. The main gallery will be located in a central plaza under a 25,000 square foot slab of steel, which will appear to be suspended in midair. It will be supported by 5 pillars. Black Rifle Coffee is a corporate sponsor of the museum, as are the Dallas Cowboys. The museum's board also includes over a dozen major corporations and 6 Medal of Honor recipients, including David Bellavia, Patrick Brady, and Britt Slabinski. Army Staff Sergeant Bellavia was awarded the medal for clearing an entire house by himself on November 10, 2004, as a squad leader in support of Operation Phantom Fury in Fallujah, Iraq. He killed 4 enemy fighters and wounded a 5th in close quarters battle. Army Major General Brady flew and coordinated the evacuation of 51 seriously wounded men during a firefight in Vietnam in January 1968. Slabinski, a Navy SEAL chief and team leader, led a rescue team of SEALs during Operation Anaconda in Afghanistan in March 2002. Slabinski and his team flew to a mountaintop ambush site to rescue Petty Officer First Class Neil Roberts, who had fallen from the back of a helicopter. Slabinski led the team through almost constant combat against an entrenched Taliban force. Along with the board members, former presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama serve as honorary directors. The museum is expected to open to the public in late 2024.
This message is from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Did you serve in the military? If so, you can obtain a free lifetime pass to more than 2,000 federal recreation sites. These sites are located across more than 400 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife refuges, and forests. The lands host activities to fit any lifestyle: hiking, biking, fishing, camping, and much more. Gold Star families are also eligible for these free lifetime passes. Plus, they cover entrance fees for a driver and all passengers in a car, or up to 3 additional adults at sites that charge per person. Obtaining one is easy. Just go to the National Park Service website, nps.gov, or the National Park Service app.
All right. Welcome back.
Misfit Nation, the Misfit Nation show.
We are a show founded by a veteran and hosted by 2 veterans and a military spouse. Our mission is to get people to tell their stories to the world. If you're an author, share your tips with the Misfit Nation. If you're a musician or an actor, our audience needs to know how they too can get into the business. Coaches, we love our coaches. Come on and share your tips with the Misfit Nation to help them become better versions of themselves. If you are a corporate leader or an entrepreneur, come on and show how you did it and how hard you have fought for success. If you are a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family, we would love to have you come on and share your story with the Misfit Nation. We always have time for you. If you're feeling down, alone, or starting to see the darkness, Stop. Think about those who are around you. You are not alone. You will be missed. If you feel like your problems will be a burden to those in your inner circle or feel embarrassed, dial 988. If you are a veteran, take option 1. We need you to keep pushing forward. Don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. If you are a new listener, welcome to the Misfit Nation show. Be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast app. Also on our YouTube channel at @the_Misfit Nation. Subscribe and click the bell to keep you up to date on our latest episodes and all of our news. You can also find us on Heroes Media Group and About Face Radio. Now, let's get to the show!
All right. Welcome to the ToosDay Crue with Jake, a.k.a. Lacey, and Steve, a.k.a. Cagney, the team that can't be divided even though they're across time zones. So get yourself ready as they welcome a great guest tonight on the ToosDay Crue.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Producer.
Thank you.
Jake,
Thank you.
Jake,
Hey,
how are
good
you
evening,
tonight?
Stephen.
How was your weekend?
Uh,
I heard you had storms.
we had a little bit of wind and rain.
Mm-hmm. I heard you had a tree down. Full of power.
Yeah, it came about. We just got power back today and had a tree down. It landed. I got to give props to my wife. She told me when I parked it, she said, you might want to back your pickup truck up another couple feet. So I did. And when the tree fell, it missed my truck by about a foot. So, got lucky. Got very lucky. But there's still a lot of people out here without power. A lot of people, having a lot of tough times, and our thoughts and prayers are with them. Thank you.
And let's hope the power companies get it all under control soon.
Let's hope so. We want to kick this thing off?
Yeah, I guess we should kick this thing off tonight.
All right. Coming to us, I did a little bit of reading. Tracy Herbert, I think, is an amazing woman. Just reading a few things about her. I'm not going to go into much. We'll just pop her in here and let her tell her story. What do you think of that?
I think that'd be great. Hello, Tracy. Good evening.
Hey, how are
Hello,
y'all doing
Tracy.
this evening? It's great to see y'all.
Good to see you too, y'all. Okay, where are you calling from?
Well, I'm calling from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. We've also had really, really bad weather for the last 3 or 4 days, and this morning and this afternoon was quite treacherous, to say the least.
Yes, I saw that on the news this morning. I take it you're all good. Everything's good.
Yes, we're good, and thankfully the internet is working and the electricity is still on.
Good deal.
That's always a good deal. Here in Jersey, we've had sun for the last few days, so I've had it pretty well.
Yes, you have. Tracy, I didn't do much of an introduction because I didn't think that we could properly do it justice. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us your story.
Well, it all started when I was 17 years old, which I'm not 17 anymore, but I was lying in a hospital bed fighting for my life in ICU. And the doctor walks in and he puts his hands on his hips and he says, young lady, you've got juvenile diabetes. You're going to be dead in 20 years. You're going to die with horrible complications. You're going to go blind. You're going to have your legs amputated. You'll be on dialysis. And you're never going to be able to have any children. And as he turned around and walked away, and he said, oh, by the way, there's no cure, and you're going to have to take insulin shots for the rest of your life. And I laid there in ICU with all these things hooked up to me. My parents and I were speechless because we didn't know anything about diabetes. And I felt hopeless. And I thought, what did he just say? It took me a little bit of time. And I was in the hospital about 2 weeks, and everybody kept telling me the same thing. You're going to be dead in 20 years. You're going to die with horrible complications. You're going to go blind, blah, 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 blah. Everything I just said. I was 17 thinking the world was going to be wonderful. And I laid there in that hospital bed and started going to classes and everything. And I thought, nope, not going to happen to me. I'm going to do something different. So I started researching as a high school student in a local college medical school library. And I started thinking, what can I do to extend my life? Maybe to 21, 22, 23 years. Who knows? And what was so interesting was I kept getting more and more hope. instead of hopeless, I was changing my attitude from hope to hopeless. And I went to a movie, all my friends and I were going. We went to see Animal House at the movie theater, been a little bit ago. And I went up to the concession stand clerk because all my friends were ordering soft drinks and popcorn and candy. And I just wanted to get a cup, those small cups that they used to give out the movie theater, so I could fill my cup out of the drinking fountain, because we didn't have diet soft drinks. We didn't have bottled water. And the concession stand clerk said, no, you can't have it. And I thought for a second, I'll be glad to pay for it. But she said no. And so I ran out of the movie theater. I'm screaming, I'm crying. Why me? Why me? And as I'm driving home, I kept thinking, my life is over. And I got in bed that night and I was still crying. And I said, Tracy, you've got two choices. You can either be better or you can be bitter. And what are you going to choose? And at that moment, my life changed. And I said, I'm going to be better. And I started learning every single thing I could on not just living healthier, not just living with diabetes, but also having the right mindset to realize I can at least fight this out. And now I'm happy to say that was 47 years ago that I've outlived my life expectancy by 27 years now. And I am healthier than most of the people I know, even our kids, which I wasn't supposed to have children, and I have 6 grandkids. I mean, so I started thinking about, everybody always wants to beat up the doctor. And I'm always like, no, that doctor was the best thing that ever happened to me, because he told me I can't. And I'm not going to be healthy. And I'm like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. So from that moment on, I've been living to encourage other people, no matter what your obstacles are, your age, your diagnosis, live every life to the fullest, because we all have hope. As long as we have breath, we can change what we're going through. And so much of what you all talk about each week, same thing. We have to have the right mindset, and then we can start doing things that are super cool. And because I did something super cool, probably what you want to hear about was I rode my bicycle from San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, and I ended on the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City, and on the Dr. Oz show. Now, not very many people have done that. Not very few grandmothers, if any, have done that, but not anybody with type 1 diabetes, which is now what they call it, which used to be called juvenile diabetes. And it took me, I did it in 3,527 miles. And I learned so much, not just about myself, because I started off to celebrate living healthy with diabetes. But what transformed is I started realizing there's so many people without hope. And I started thinking more and more along the ride is, what can I do to inspire and encourage other people that, again, despite your age or diagnosis, you can take control of whatever you're struggling with.
Good deal. Now, I do.
Well, you see, the New Jersey in me was going to say, when you said you can't blame the doctor, I was going to ask you, did you go back, grab him by the throat, and say, "Look, I'm still alive"? That's just the mean New Jersey.
The doctor is not still alive, unfortunately, because I would like to be able to show him, saying, "Hey, look at me."
Yeah, look at me now.
Back then, he probably smoked 2 packs a day and drank a 5th of liquor a night. So, he probably didn't last very long.
Yes, because back then they could still smoke in the hospitals, which is even crazier in itself.
Yes. Now, I do have a question.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever get to see Animal House?
Oh, yes, I did. I did like a week later, because I had the right mindset, because I was so distraught. And my mom reminded me as I was running out the door, remember, you can't eat anything. And of course, we had the money. She didn't do it to be mean, but it was teaching me discipline. So about 2 or 3 weeks later, I finally did go back and see the best movie of all time, Animal House.
Yes. Yes, it is an awesome movie. It is. Now, we could all probably deal with living a little healthier. What are some of what's some things that you do? What's some good advice or just your system?
We're all a work in progress, and what works for me is not going to work for somebody else. Even if I had a twin, my twin would not even, these things probably wouldn't work for, because we're all so uniquely made. But What about my mid 30s, I did start feeling, which would have been 20 years after my diagnosis, I did start feeling really run down. And I was thinking, this isn't working. And of course, when I was diagnosed, and even when I was pregnant with my first child, I didn't even have a home glucose blood testing machine. I mean, we were still boiling syringes when I was diagnosed. So it's been back a long, long time ago. And my mid 30s, I was just worn out. I was exhausted. I had no energy. And that's why I love telling people now in my mid 60s, I have more energy than I even did in my 30s. That's when I really started going back and putting my researcher's hat on and saying, okay, what can I do? And I started realizing, because by then I had a blood testing machine. So I was taking my blood tests maybe about 4 or 5 times a day. And what I was seeing was when I was eating breakfast, and I was eating the so-called healthy American breakfast, I started realizing my blood sugars were spiking and then it would start crashing. And what's so unique is everybody with or without diabetes, when you eat something that is high carbs, your blood sugar is going to spike. But then for most people without diabetes, their blood sugar starts leveling out. Well, I have to take insulin, obviously, but it's when I go down, and anybody though, but when you hit that bottom and you start dropping low because you've eaten all that stuff and then you're dropping low, that's when you become tired. And so I started just making small, minor things in my eating plans. And then I started eating like salads and leftover protein for breakfast. It's crazy, but it works for me. And so I started doing that kind of stuff. And then I started transitioning because we've all had, pizza or Mexican food for lunch. And then you go back to the office and you're sitting there yawning. And then you're reaching for a soft drink or a candy bar to wake you up. But I started eating salads and broccolis and stuff like that, and things that didn't spike my blood sugar as much. And so the same thing, I started having more energy in the afternoon. So then people started asking me, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I started telling them. And this was even before I became a certified personal trainer or certified wellness coach or anything. And I started using myself as a guinea pig. And then I started wearing what they call a continuous glucose monitor, which most people know about it now because it's on TV all the time, all the commercials. But then you can see your blood sugars in real time. And I started seeing, I am like flatlining, which is really good for diabetics. Not so good if you're in the hospital though. But so my blood sugars were staying pretty stable. And then my doctor started doing more and more testing and seeing, wow, if you weren't taking insulin, of course, I am, you wouldn't have good blood sugars, but your blood work looks like you don't even have diabetes. And that's what started. And my doctor is the one that first started telling me, you've got to get this message out. So I wrote my first book. And then when when you write a book or when you really start thinking things through, you're in your office and you're just sitting there and you start thinking, why am I doing what I'm doing? And it all came down to me. And if you don't even hear anything else today, remember these 3 things. My 3M formula. Mind, you have to have the right mindset, because when I left that hospital, if I hadn't started changing my mindset, I probably wouldn't be here today. But then mouth, we have to learn to eat to live, not live to eat. So I just celebrated my youngest grandson's birthday this weekend. Everybody was eating cake and ice cream. Now I could have given myself insulin, but I don't, because then it makes me tired and lethargic and everything. And then the third M is move. We just have to get off our chairs and move more. And I don't say ride your bicycle across the United States unless you want to, or I don't say sign up for a marathon. But a great example of this was a lady I met in Sacramento on my bicycle ride. And I was waiting for the light to turn green. And I just happened to notice her out of the corner of my eye. And that gut feeling said, okay, Tracy, get off your bike and start talking to her. So I went over, and sweet, sweet young lady, probably in her early 30s. And she was just so embarrassed. She was telling me she was waiting for her brother to come pick her up because she lived around the block. And these weren't gigantic blocks. It was just probably 4 or 5 houses down. But this sweet lady was extremely, extremely overweight. And she kept saying, oh, I just want to be able to walk home. But then I would say, well, could you, walk to your next door neighbor? I can't. Can you do this? I can't. Everything I would ask her, she'd say, I can't. And I said, could you walk to your driveway? And just for a split second, that light went off and she said, I think I can. That's when I got her, be the health coach. I had to start talking to her. And then I said, go to your driveway and just walk, relax, rest, take a chair if you need to, and then walk back and do that every day, a couple times at a time. When you can start getting stronger, go next door, walk to the end of the street. Then you can walk around the block, go to the bus stop and back and forth. By the time I got into New York City, I got a text message from her, and she said, I have to tell you, I just signed up for my first 5K walk. That's 3.1 miles. And she said, what I didn't even realize was not only am I moving more and exercising, I have more energy, but the weight is coming off of me. And she said, Tracy, I did not even change my diet. And she says, I'm going to eventually, but right now I'm just walking all the time. And that's what I love to tell people is, it's just simple. Walk into your driveway and rest and walk back. Or, sign up for your first 5K walk, or get off the chairs at night and quit watching TV all the time and go for a walk after you eat and then watch TV. It's not all or nothing, but just find little things throughout the day that you can do to live a longer, healthier, more active life. And that's one of the main things. And going to bed early, getting a good night's rest. And people say, well, I can't sleep because of this and because of this. And I'm always like, what did you have for dinner? And they'll say, well, probably could have changed that. And what I typically tell my clients, and what I've done over the last probably 25 or 30 years, is I don't eat anything after about 6 o'clock at night, because therefore my body's already taken care of it. I don't have to worry about my blood sugar spikes, but also I have an emptier stomach where I can sleep better. Mm-hmm. And then I get up in the morning and I feel refreshed. I don't reach for a cup of coffee at first. I start drinking water. Once I have drank a big cup, my water's always with me. Once I drink my water, then I switch over and have a cup of coffee. And so I start working on minor things like that. And you start seeing how much better you feel, because when we sleep, we end up oftentimes waking up dehydrated. And so when you just have a little bit of water, you start feeling better, because coffee is also will dehydrate you even more. So that's why you don't want to have coffee first thing in the morning. So just simple things. And I tell people, find what works best for you, because if it works for you, you're going to continue to do it. When you feel better and better and better and have more energy, you're going to want to do it over and over again, because it's so important. Because I just love to tell people, I have such a different disposition in life, and people are like, how do you keep doing this? I was taking 9 shots of insulin every day. And then my doctor did put me on the insulin pump. So I'm still giving myself insulin all the time. But instead of feeling like poor, pitiful me, I started realizing, okay, if I took more insulin throughout the day, then I could have a healthier life and I wouldn't be spiking my blood sugar so much and then having those horrible drops. So I tell people, because I learned this the hard way, but one of the events I spoke at a Heart Association meeting, and I sold out of my first book, which is about diabetes. And I asked the event planner, I said, what's going on? And she said, everything you've just mentioned is what we do for heart disease. And then the people with cancer are telling me the same thing. People wanting to lose weight, the same thing. So it's not like it's rocket science. We all know what we need to do, but sometimes we just have to start making little tweaks and start feeling better. And then for me, stress has been a big problem my whole life. It used to be. I'm trying to work on that now because I'm a recovering perfectionist. So what I do now in the mornings and even in the afternoons, or before I do something like stressful traffic, I start doing some deep breathing exercises. I don't sit there and close my eyes and do all that. I just take deep breaths, because when we don't breathe deeply, we don't get enough oxygen to our brains, which therefore we're even more tired. And we want to grab those food that we shouldn't be eating to try to wake us up. It's really not rocket science, but it's not always simple. It's easy, but not always simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's a lot of changes that a lot of people could make. And like you said, you got to have what works for you. Mm-hmm. And I like the thing about not eating after 6 o'clock, because if I do, I'm up all night, and that's not a good thing. We have a question. What are your principles of weight management?
That's a very interesting question. I don't believe in a scale. I know there's a lot of people that believe in scales. I believe in how my jeans fit or how my clothes fit. Because when I start gaining weight, I notice it quickly in my waist, especially. And that's why I tell people some of my clients, they'll weigh every day. Some of my clients won't, but I'm a firm believer in making one healthy food option versus an unhealthy. So for example, say you drink, I don't know, a coffee that's got all the sugar and everything in it. One day, just switch that for a cup of green tea, which has got great antioxidant benefits, but it also helps rev up your metabolism a little bit. But you don't want to add any sugar or anything or cream or anything into it. Just drink it plain for the health benefits. And then, like I said, you go out to a restaurant. This is something that I learned a long time ago also is my husband and I often share meals because the food that we get in this country is huge, enormous. So if we don't share something, I'll ask when I place my order, could you put half of it in a to-go box? Because I'm the kind of person, especially when we're out with friends, I'll continue to eat and eat and eat. And then at the late night snacking, I like potato chips. Don't eat them very often, but I don't take my potato chip container to my chair when I'm watching TV. I'll put maybe 2 or 3 on a paper plate. And then I'm not tempted to keep eating. I don't eat in front of the TV because when you eat in front of the TV, it's mindless eating. And so, I always suggest drink a big glass of water before you eat a meal. Because if you drink a glass of water before you eat a meal, you're going to eat fewer calories, which also helps with weight management. And it all starts with our eating. I talk about exercise because exercise is so important, but it really does all start with what we eat. And it's just making simple choices. We're not perfectionists. We do it, as much as you can. But don't beat yourself up because setbacks happen. If you're on some kind of a weight management program and you're thinking, I'm all in, that's great. But remember, there's going to be times that you have slip ups. And when you do, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up, but don't wait until the next day or January 1st, but start the next meal and say, okay, let's get back on track. And so we try to overcomplicate it, and it's really not overcomplicated. It's just eat fewer calories, eat the right kind of foods. And I say the right kind of foods, sugar is horrible for us. I don't care if you have diabetes or don't. Sugar is one of the worst things you could put in your body. Now they're even showing sugar as a problem for cholesterol and even triglycerides. So eat fresh vegetables, eat a little bit of fresh fruit. I'm a big proponent of blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. The berries are, again, lower glycemic and all that means is it doesn't spike the blood sugar as quick. But when you're trying to keep with your weight management program, you don't want to eat things that are going to spike your blood sugar because that's when you're going to gain and stay with the weight that you have because your body's holding on to everything. So you don't want that. You just want to make it simple. And I'm a big believer in 16-hour fasts and eat for 8 hours. Some people I know fast for 20 hours and eat for 4 hours straight. I don't do that myself, and I break my fast often if I have plans. But intermittent fasting is something that's really beneficial. And also, don't be afraid of fat because fat does not make you fat. Fat keeps you full longer, which is a good thing. And I eat a half avocado every single day that I can because it's so good for my heart. It's good for my body and it keeps me full. So my afternoon snack is I'll eat a half an avocado.
Okay. Yeah. A half an avocado will definitely fill you up or it does me. And it keeps me full for quite a long time. And I found one of the things that helped me was I started drinking raw milk again, and that did wonders for me. It's great stuff. Great stuff.
My biggest
Tyler just put up. You lost 45 pounds, quitting sugar. I've been losing weight, and all I did was stop drinking soda with sugar. Everything is sugar-free soda now. And it's not as much as I was drinking, but it's no sugar, and I've been losing weight just by doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm lazy. I work 12-hour days sometimes. If I don't eat 3 meals, I go crazy. So I eat, but what I've been doing is cutting out breads and little things like that, and I'm losing weight.
And that's all it takes and again, what works best for you doesn't work best for me. So that's
Right.
awesome. And if you can, try to eat a salad before a meal, and then don't, if you're out eating, always ask for salad dressing on the side, because there's a lot of sugar and a lot of unhealthy things in salad dressing. But just put a little bit on your salad, or just dip it a little bit into the salad dressing, and it'll make you nice and happy. And I tell you one thing, that's been the best thing for me, is giving up the salad dressing on the salad, because people put way too much on.
Mm-hmm. Now, going back to your travel across country, somebody on X was asking what city or area was your favorite during your cross country journey.
Oh, okay.
You went to top of them.
Oh, goodness gracious. I have to, there's so many of them. The prettiest place, but it was also the scariest place, was I was in Truckee, California. And it was supposed to be a 3-hour bicycle ride from Truckee to Reno. And I got lost and had to climb a mountain, carry my bicycle. But it was the most beautiful place I think I've ever been. It was absolutely gorgeous. But I tell you, Wyoming was probably, the whole state was so interesting, because every 76 miles was a rest stop, and that's where you stop for the night. But I would be riding up these hills, and people would be honking their horns, rolling down their windows and saying, "You can do it, keep going, keep going." And then in Nebraska, I'm sorry, I can't remember the city. I think it was Omaha. No, it was just before Omaha. And I was sitting down the side of the road in this small little town, drinking some water. And a lady just came over and brought me a lunch, just without even asking. She just brought me something. And I thought that was so nice. And then in Nevada, it's just over the border. I'm sorry if you're in Nevada and I can't remember the name of your town, but they were so kind there that a couple had stopped. I had a flat tire on the side of the road, and they had just finished their bicycle ride, and they were so kind. Not only did he change my tire, he gave me extra parts, and she bought me something to eat and drink. I mean, just crazy nice people like that. Again, in Omaha, I had met some lovely people, and they ended up having an event for me. And it was so sweet, because they brought people together that also with kids that had diabetes. And, they were showing kids what this lady could do. I told the kids, hey, if this old lady can do it, imagine what you can do. But Salt Lake City, I was really scared, let me tell you, because I don't have big cities. Well, I'm in a big city, obviously, but I don't ride in real big cities like Chicago and New York. And I was so afraid when I left San Francisco that Chicago, I was going to be hurt or injured or hit by a car. And then I was in Chicago. I thought, wow, this is safer than any place I've ever ridden. And then the same thing for New York City, because it was so nice, because people respected bicyclists. And that was something I just hadn't noticed where I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. But anyway, but everywhere I went, I left Texas thinking, everybody's horrible. Everybody's mean to each other. And about 30 minutes into the ride, I realized that's not the case at all. There's so many nice people cheering me, people giving me water. Right. And again, in Nebraska, a construction worker, she was stopping traffic because they were doing road construction. And I was next in line, and she said, I'm going to let you go real quick, and I'm going to keep the cars back so you'll be safer. And then she got into her cooler, and she gave me her last water bottle. I said, no, I've got water. She said, no, you take it, because you're going somewhere that's really important. And just, we forget about how nice people are. And every time I get down the dumps, I always think about these wonderful people I met. So I'm being politically correct there. I'm not going to give out shout outs to every single town, but everywhere. I did not have a bad experience at all, except for one area, and I got attacked by a dog. But other than that, it was wonderful.
One more question in this whole area. Now, when you did your ride, was it advertised, or did you have sponsors, or did you just do it?
I just did it. My daughter helped me with my social media. My husband did some press releases for me. I had already done TV appearances because of my books, my first book especially. And so I had already had friendships with people on TV stations throughout the country. But then when my ride started gaining momentum, because I did all the social media, I did all the lives and all that stuff. And so the traction really started taking. And then in Chicago is when the Dr. Oz people have found out about my ride, and they contacted me while I was in Chicago and said, "Hey, we'd like to have you finish on the show." So that was but that's because of a press release, because of, people were just spreading the message, because it's so unique to have a grandmother with type 1 diabetes, a grandmother that's older, riding their bicycle across the United States.
And now, sadly, I almost laughed at you when you said how nice people were in New York. Growing up in the area, I would have thought that they would have been a little bit mean to you. I'm like, it's kind of amazing that people were nice in New York.
And that's a comment I get from a lot of people from New York. And I'm like, no, again, I don't know what it was, but I guess it was just because people liked the story. But I was treated so kindly everywhere I went, from people buying me food to people congratulating me to people encouraging me. So, and I met some great people in New York that I have a relationship with now because they're wonderful people.
That's amazing. Wow.
And New Jersey, Newark. I was finishing up and getting out of Newark, and just a guy stopped on the side of the road and asked me, "Hey, what are you doing? This isn't a normal spot to ride." And anyway, just curious and asking me, "And do you need anything before you get back on your bike?" I'm like, "No, thanks." So
that's pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
So my second book is about the bicycle ride across the country, Ride for Hope. And then my third book is about longevity codes. And that's kind of the question. I know that's what we were going to kind of talk about today, was longevity, because everybody keeps asking me, why have you transitioned? And I'm like, because I'm getting older. And so, I've always I always wanted to watch my kids graduate from high school. Then I always wanted to watch my kids graduate from college. Then I wanted to watch my grandkids be born. Those things. And I thought, okay, Tracy, what do you want? And I'm like, well, my grandmother lived to be 99 and still rode horses. I met a couple at the bottom of the Grand Canyon when we were backpacking there, and they were 86 and 84. And I thought, that's the kind of life I want. I want to live longer and healthier and happier. And that's what this is all about. My mission now is providing hope for people that no matter what you're struggling with, weight is just a number. If you don't work out, that's fine. Find something you enjoy doing. Maybe it's gardening. Maybe it's dancing. Maybe it's just going for a walk. I like nature. I get out in nature often. I take my shoes off and I ground. There's so many things you can do to better your health that we haven't even talked about today.
Right.
Yeah, that I like that longevity thing. I would love to see my grandchildren graduate from college.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My mom is she'll be 80 her next birthday. She's got a little RV van, and she is unstoppable. I'm always getting calls from either it's the West Coast or Canada, or her and my dad drove from Indiana to Belize.
Wow.
So, yeah. With my 95-year-old grandfather in the van with them. So,
wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, I want to be healthy at that age.
Yes. Yep.
So, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on all social media. I have my website's tracyherbert.com. It's spelled like Tracy, like Dick Tracy, for those of you all who remember who Dick Tracy was. And I offer free resources. My mission is to help people get healthy. Yes, I do it as a profession, but most importantly, I do it because I'm driven to help other people get healthy, because I'm tired of people feeling sick and tired. So there's all sorts of things on there. You can get a hold of me. I'd be glad to talk to you if you need some encouragement, maybe make a few tweaks here and there. That's what I like to do, is when I do strategy calls, I call them strategy calls just because I need help, and I'll tell people, I'm like, I don't even sell anything. on these calls. They're 45-minute free calls, but I sell you hope that you can get healthy because they can walk away with 2 or 3 strategies that they can start doing at that moment. Because again, I say it all the time, but we try to overcomplicate things and it's not that difficult. It's just, giving up sugar, just quit drinking regular sodas if that's the case. I mean, just little simple things like that. And you don't even feel deprived when you start feeling so much better. Am I right? I mean, aren't you all feeling that? Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, stick with, try green tea. Green tea is so good for us. They're just now beginning to discover the benefits of green tea. And that's something I drink a cup of green tea every day after my cup of coffee. And it really has powers that we don't even know about. I mean, powers. I mean, we still have to take care of ourselves. We can't take a pill and say, okay, we're healthy, but I encourage people to do that. And I encourage people
that's not what they say on TikTok and all these places.
Yeah.
You take pills, everything goes away.
Yeah. It's not that's the case, but what I help my people and everybody on TV, speaking from stage, my clients, everything is don't look at it as I need to lose X number of weight or X number of pounds, or I'm signing up for a 5K. Those things are great. But just like we talked about, what do you want to watch your grandkids graduate from college? Do you want to, ride your bicycle across the country, whatever that is? But it's not for today. It's not for tomorrow. It's where do you want to be in 20 years? Where do you want to be in 30 years? I don't want to be sitting in a rocking chair in a nursing home or on my front porch. That's not me. I want to be doing something crazy and hiking to the bottom of Grand Canyon again, or, ride my bike across the country. So find things that make you want to do things. You got to know your why. Why do you want to do whatever for health reasons? Like you mentioned, Jake, you wanted to watch your kids graduate or grandkids graduate from college. That's your why. So when you're tempted not to do something healthy, you start thinking about your grandkids, right? I mean, I'm assuming. So it's a mind game. It's a mindset is so important. Park your car further away when you go to the store. A lot of people think it's good luck to park on the front row. I always say that's the worst place to park because, you could get in a wreck or whatever. I park way out so I get more steps in. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Pass on some of that food when they serve you at the restaurants. Share a meal like we talked about. Pack up a meal before you go. Have healthy snacks with you. I always have cut up vegetables all the time with me, just so that way, if I am hungry, I have something I can chew on instead of running into a fast food place and start buying junk that's going to hurt me and not help me.
Okay. We have a question from Sue on X. Want to know what grounding is?
I should have explained that better. Thank you, Sue. What grounding is you take your shoes off and if you have grass, you go out and you walk on the grass. It's a great thing for your body. I'm not going to go into too much detail there. It's good for the electricity for your body. You're dealing with the ground, and that's why they call it grounding. So you take off your shoes and you walk on grass. If you don't have grass, which I know a lot of people don't, then you can walk on the pavement or sidewalk or whatever. But when you can get on grass, sand is really good. Walking on the beach and the ocean is really good. There's a great documentary that I just watched, and you can Google it and look at it, but there's so much. The experts are in grounding. There's so many more people out there that know a lot more about it than I do, but I know that they say, now I haven't seen the research, but several people that are researchers are finding that it can lower your blood pressure. It does reduce stress. There's no doubt about it. It reduces your stress, but it's also a great way just to connect with the ground. And to me, I always visualize, I'm a visual person. I visualize it removing toxins from my body. Now it doesn't do it, but that's what I visualize. So when I'm outside grounding, I'm seeing myself, there's no stress and everything bad is getting out of my body. And anyway, it's a weird thing, but I'm not going to go into again. Google it. There's so much great research and a great documentary on one of the platforms that's really impactful about the importance of grounding.
Thank you for that explanation. I couldn't have explained it that good. Me and a guy that I used to work with, about 3 times a week, we have a parade field outside of our office, and we would go to the parade field, take off our shoes, and walk around the parade field twice barefoot. And yeah, people thought we were crazy, but
it just does something to you, doesn't it? Mentally, doesn't it just make?
I like being I do not like to have shoes on, period. Wow. We covered a lot of stuff this evening.
We did.
And cover your 3 M's again for us, just so everybody's got them.
Yes, because this will change your life. There's not much I can guarantee, but this will change your life. 3 M's, mind. You've got to have the right mindset and be willing to say, yes, it may be hard, but I can do it. Get the I can't versus the I can out of your mind. Just don't even think about I can't. Have the right mindset. And it also helps with the second M, mouth. Learn to eat to live, don't live to eat. So when you have the right mindset, you're more likely to eat healthy. So when you look at something unhealthy, you walk into wherever you go, or you see something in your kitchen and you think, no, I am stronger than that. You're building muscles in your brain, just like you do with your muscles in your arms when you go to the gym. You start developing self-control muscles, so you're not tempted by that. But that's with the mindset. And then move. We got to get off our chairs and move more. And these are all synergistically related. So you have the right mindset, like I mentioned, you'll make the right food choices. But you don't have the right mindset, you make a bad choice on eating, then you're less likely to get up and go for a walk. So when you change your mindset, you eat your right kind of foods, you're more likely to want to go for a walk. Then you're going to go to bed, get a good night's rest, wake up in the morning, try to drink a glass of water. I double dog dare you to try that one morning before coffee, because I guarantee it's going to wake you up. But then you have your coffee or whatever you do, but start seeing the difference. It's not going to happen overnight. It could, but more than likely it's not. And I highly recommend you keep a journal. I know people don't like to do it and it's a lot of work, but what time do you go to bed? What time you wake up? How did you sleep? I mean, a lot of people have the rings and all that, but if you don't, just how do you feel you slept? And then how are you throughout your day? And start making you start writing things down and you can start seeing trends that maybe are healthy or maybe aren't healthy. And then just make minor tweaks to that. But 3 M's, mind, mouth, and move.
Okay. That sounds like real sage advice. You got to do something for us though. Okay. If you ever decide to do the Appalachian Trail, let us know.
Oh. Okay, that gave me goosebumps because I'm that's kind of something that I'm thinking very seriously about right now.
I've been doing a lot of research on it. I haven't pulled the trigger. I swore that I would never walk again with a pack on my back, but I might do it. I don't know. You up for it, Stephen?
No. I got two bad knees. This is why I'm losing weight. I need to replace these.
Oh, okay.
I'll get on a scooter and follow you.
Okay.
That's possibly next on my list. I'm not quite sure yet. That's what I was going to do when I did my bike ride across the country. I decided to ride my bicycle across the country instead of do the Appalachian Trail, but that's probably going to be next. I'll keep you posted.
Hey, yes. And keep us posted. We might do an on-trail interview.
That'd be fun. Or come join me and we'll walk together.
Well, we'll walk and we'll interview at the same time. All right.
And can I share one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
Stephen, I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on TV, but turmeric, curry, the curry powder, turmeric, turmeric, Turmeric.
Yeah.
It's turmeric. Everybody calls it something different. It's that has great anti-inflammatory properties in it. And you can put it on any food. I mean, I put it on eggs. I put it on everything. And you might try adding some of that if you don't already, because I know somebody in the same shoes you were in, and now they're not even talking about doing any kind of surgeries on the knee and that's all they've done, that and lost some weight, but because there's more research that's showing that. So anyway, I'm not a doctor. Please talk to your doctor, but I'm not even saying supplements. I'm just talking use it as spices like they do in India.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm always willing to try something.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy, this has been, your story is amazing. Yeah, that's all I can say about it. You and like my son popped on here just a few minutes ago and said that you are a force to be reckoned with. So, and we really appreciate y'all coming on here. You coming on here tonight. Again, it's TracyHerbert.com.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And you've also got a YouTube channel out there,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody can call, ask for advice, get some,
Mm-hmm.
and your books are out there.
I have a blog out there.
Okay, yeah,
So.
you're on about everything.
Mm-hmm.
We really appreciate it. Stay safe down there in Dallas. And I think Houston's been hit a couple times this year already. And I'm really wondering about those folks down there. But yeah, stay safe with this weather. Again, if you get on the trail, let us know, and our best to you.
Thank you. It's been a joy. I've really enjoyed it.
Have a great day.
This is a message from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Got a question about your VA benefits, healthcare, or eligibility? Go to va.gov, where you can access a new interactive chatbot to ask questions 24/7. One can still browse va.gov for information, but you can now ask specific questions to the chatbot, like what's the PACT Act? How do I apply for disability benefits? What's my claim status? You can access the new feature through va.gov's Contact Us page. Then click on the Start Chat button. The chatbot will continue to improve veterans' access to information about the benefits and services they've earned. This is one way VA is offering seamless and secure access to its online resources.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are
Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.